In this first video for probability grade 8 and 9, we are going to have a look at relative frequency. Probability is calculating and predicting the chance of something happening in a specific way. This can be done by either having a look at what already occurred, and that is called relative frequency, or you can have a look at what might theoretically happen in the future, and that is called probability. In this video, we're going to focus on relative frequency, but before we do that, we're going to have a look at terminology that we will use. The outcomes of a specific experiment are the different ways in which the experiment can take place. For example, if you throw a dice to see on which side it lands, you will have 6 possible outcomes for your experiment. And when you take a pack of cards, there are 52 different cards that you can remove. All the possible outcomes together is called a sample space. We use the letter S and curly brackets when we write down all the possible outcomes as a list. And then the word event describes all the specific or particular outcomes that you are interested in. Next, let's have a look at the word relative frequency of a specific event. This is how often an event occurred in an experiment that was already conducted. So here you are not making a prediction, but rather a conclusion. So to calculate the relative frequency of an event, it is the frequency of that event, or the number of times it occurred, divided by the total number of trials. Let's have a look at the following experiment. Roll a die 60 times and each time write down on what number the die landed. Here we have the results of 2 groups that conducted the experiment. If we now go and calculate the relative frequency for the die to land on 5, the answer will be different for the 2 groups. The relative frequency to land on a 5 for group 1 was 9 out of the total number of trials, which was 60. And for group 2, this relative frequency to land on 5 was 11 out of the total of 60 trials. Writing these in decimal form will be 0.15 and 0.18. The bigger the number of trials, or the more times you repeat the experiment, the closer the relative frequencies will be to each other.